Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all my wonderful and beautiful little subscribers out there. And how I love you all so, and I hope that you're all super duper well, super duper wonderful, and super duper delicious, and that life is treating you most deliciously right now then. So it's nearly 3:20 in our old England. Sorry, my delicious babies. Blow it out. Okay, my delicious babies. Nearly 3:20 in the afternoon in our old England, my delicious little babies. Now, according to the temperature, it's meant to be, doesn't mean that, it's meant to be 21, my delicious little babies. But it's been blowing a severe wind, okay, all day, by the way, okay, my delicious little babies. When the sun cracks out, it does go warmer. Okay, my delicious little babies, and I feel ever so sorry for me, for my beautiful dear little neighbours upstairs, because they put a tent, in their garden. My delicious little babies, the flipping things landed on its head. My delicious little babies. Okay, so I think they must have. No, I don't think that they've put it back up yet. Okay, my delicious little babies. So yeah, that just goes to show how windy it is. And they thought that they'd secured it, you see. But, well, something lifted it out, didn't it, my delicious little babies? But I'm sure that they'll put it back again. Now then, my delicious little babies. So, right, so I've got three pieces of information today, my delicious little baby, and I hope that life, wherever you are in the world, is treating you most deliciously, my little beautifuls that you all are. Now then, so, yeah, so this is the first one. Now, just let you know, I did used to watch a lot of videos on YouTube, my delicious little babies, to do with this solicitor, this lawyer, my delicious little babies. He was very good, actually. Okay, my delicious little babies, he was banging, he wasn't. And with anybody not in that way, okay? But this is, so all three are on YouTube, my delicious little babies, and then we'll have a quick discuss. So in the old space bar in YouTube, should anybody have any form of an interest, capital P, pinch, PRNCH, space, a little O of, and then space, capital S, suit, SOOT. That's the upload of my delicious little babies. So it should read pinch of suit. Okay, my delicious little babies. Okay, so it's not spelt like a whistle and flute suit. It's spelt the other way, suit. Okay, my delicious little babies. Okay, it's come up on my feed actually. Okay, yesterday evening. This uploader happens to have 913 subscribers, my delicious little babies. Now, he spends, there's two other ladies there. I'll just read it out for you, my delicious little babies. Update, Reiner, Fulmich, that's the solicitor, the lawyer, my delicious little babies, on the pal, Naroth, Taylor Shire. Okay, my delicious little babies, so I'm just going to repeat that again for you. Update, Reiner, Fulmich, on the pal, Naroth, Taylor show. Yeah, Pal's very good, she is, bless her, okay? And, yeah, so, and I'll just explain what this is about. Now, to be honest with you, is it, I think it's nearly an hour long or something, my delicious little babies. Anyway, but he has these two women on, bless. One is Pal and there's another woman. And then they go after so many minutes, my delicious little babies. Then he's talking to somebody else, okay? But the most important parts, that's not being disrespectful to the uploader or to the video, is to do with Reiner, bless him, okay? Now, I used to watch, like I said, on an old BitChute, my delicious little babies, and I used to watch them rather a lot on BitChute years ago, my delicious little babies. And what it was is that Reiner, bless him, was not a, and by the way, he was a very, there we are, successful lawyer. Okay, my delicious little babies, okay? But what's happened is now, my delicious little babies, is that he's found himself now, he's somewhere else, my delicious little babies, and he's now been sentenced. Now, what this is really about, my delicious little babies, is for the fact that he was he was speaking up about like back so many years ago, my delicious little babies, and he was speaking up about the tests, my delicious little babies, if you follow me. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies? Yes. But bless him, I was really saddened to hear this yesterday evening, because he has been on me noddle actually, and I do remember that we are advertising him a number of times actually on my channel, my delicious little babies. But how sad is that? And he could not even get out to see his dear mum. So she passed away, and they wouldn't even let him go and see his dear mama bear. Isn't that disgraceful, my delicious little babies, okay? But this is all, like I said, to do with him that we are speaking out, okay? Because he did used to get an awful lot. I don't mean awful is in the wrong sense of the word awful, okay? He used to get an awful lot of ones watching his videos, really interesting. And then he used to invite other guests like on the screen, and everything. He was really banging, but I just feel really so very sorry for him. And it's the same with our Dr. Roberto Young, my delicious little babies. It's the same with himself. He has been put somewhere as well, my delicious little babies, okay? Because the reason why that doesn't mean no, because he, they're saying, because he has put something together to help mankind, my delicious little babies, okay? And it seems to cure a lot in the body, my delicious little babies, as well. Because of that, they're saying that he was doing all of this, if my mind noddle serves me correctly, he was doing it all illegally. So it was not okayed by the, what's it called, the FDA. Do you know what I mean, my delicious little babies? Okay, so now poor Dr. Robert O. Young, he's been somewhere else now for a while now, my delicious little babies. Can you see how this rocks and rolls? So you try to help others, and that appears to be the treatment that ones get, my delicious little babies. So we must keep them in our prayers, okay? But you'll find that there are others as well that maybe we're not hearing about as well. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies? Anyway, but I just feel so sorry for both of them. See, I stumbled there. My heart goes out to both of them. Do you know what I mean? Okay, and it's of course as well. If you question anything, if you question something, there we are. Well, there's some in the world who are not alike in my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? Yes. Anyway, so that's that one, my delicious little babies. But may we just bless them. Do you understand what I mean? Okay, and just keep them in our prayers. And hopefully, they can find somewhere out of this. Bless them both, okay? Now then, the next one, my delicious little babies, this one, he hasn't came up forever on my feed, my delicious little babies. I used to advertise him as well, my delicious little babies, okay? He's called Ralph Smart, okay? So I was advertising him more at the beginning of my journey on YouTube, my delicious little babies, okay? Because he goes, can I get a hello? Do you know what I mean, okay? But he's, like I say, with nobody, not in that way, okay? But he has a real good, there we are, feel good energy on his videos, my delicious little babies, okay? But this video here, I've just actually left a comment, actually, you know, blessings to you, Ralph, you know what I mean? Oh, bless. Anyway, but he's put here on this one, he has 2.05 million subscribers, my delicious little babies, on old YouTube, okay? So it's a lot of subscribers, okay? And if you please and thank you, tap into the old space bar. Should anybody have any form of an interest, my delicious little babies, the video is just over 10 minutes long, so it's not long, my delicious little babies, okay? Infinite, this is his, you know, that he uploads, this is the name of it. Infinite, capital R, space, capital W, waters, and then in brackets, capital D, diving, space, capital D, deep. So it should read infinite waters, in brackets, diving deep. That's what you'd need to type in, my delicious little babies, please and thank you. And then you should have reached your destination. And the video simply reads, I'm coming out. How's it go? I'm coming out. I want the world to know. Got to let it show. Diana Ross, my delicious little babies. What year was that song? 3, 2, 1, my juice little lights. Thank you, little lights. You're delicious and bright. Yes, they are. I'm a bit later putting my lights on, my delicious little babies, okay? Now then, yeah, and he explains on this little video, bless him, okay? Oh, bless Ralph, you know, but like I said, not in that way, okay? And he even explains himself that so many years ago, he suffered a breakdown himself, my delicious little babies. You know, the point is, you know, ones who say that they're constantly happy all of the time, my delicious little babies, okay? Either they're on some sort of other planet or something, my delicious little babies, okay? But the ones who live in the real world, there will be a point in each and everybody's life who live in the real world, my delicious little babies, okay? Where something could have got to them, made them feel down, made them feel depressed, you know, in some cases, bless, make some, you know, feel like they're going round the twist, or make some where they don't feel as though they've got much to live for, or maybe they do not feel that they're worth anything at that time. Do you see what I mean? So there's been many who have suffered. I mean, when I was a lot younger, I'm going back decades ago now, I suffered with a depression, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? So it can get the best of you. And yet, for ones, they used to always see me happy. Do you know what I mean? But behind closed doors, that wasn't the case at all. So this video here, just a shorty video, but it speaks, there we are, a lot of words, loud and clear, my delicious little babies, you know what I mean? So even the best of us, I don't mean that because we're all equal. What I mean is that no matter how happy you can be, you know what I mean? If say a tragedy hits you, you know what I mean? And I've had a number of tragedies in my life, my delicious little babies, okay? Eventually, there we are, it is going to get to you. And it certainly did get to myself. And when I'm going back decades ago, I actually did feel as though I didn't want to be here anymore. That was just how I felt, my delicious little baby. So I'm just being honest, because it's the truth. I thought, well, what use am I? You know what I mean? But, you know, then I'd do something, you know, that sort of, you know, made me feel happier, you know, like singing in a social club. You know, I used to do a glass collecting, my delicious little babies, when I was, how old was I? 16. And then you could have, they used to call it a free and easy night, and you could go and get up and sing. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to get up and sing. I'm going to ask if I can get up and sing, yeah. You know, and there's about, how many was there? I think, was it about 1,000, 1,200 in the room that night? And I tell you what, they said, you know, sing another song, do you know what I mean? But I'd only rehearse the one song, My Delicious Little Babies, do you see what I mean? Okay, but yeah. And yeah. So, you know, so when I listen to videos like this now, then, do you see what I mean? Okay, and singing is something that I've always loved. You know what I mean? So, you know, even for myself, I have to watch that I do not, even after all these decades, I have to watch that I do not start to feel down, you know, like with what's going on in the world, because it is, there we are, very heartbreaking, you know. And for myself, I do take things to my heart. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies? You know what I mean? I mean, you know, I'm not made of steel. Do you understand what I mean? You know, I care about what goes on in the world, my delicious little babies, you know what I mean? But like I say, even for the strongest of us, mentally, you know, there we are. We have to keep our noddles, do you see what I mean? And sometimes it can be extremely trying, but when we spare a thought for our dear mankind and dear little babies who are in war zones and everything like that now, then you know what I mean? I mean, they're in a very severe and awful situation. They really, really are. I'm just not going to... You see, what happens is I'll start to get really peed off about it, my delicious little babies, and it really breaks my heart. Do you understand what I mean? So it's just better that I just shut my trap and I just don't say anything. All I do is I send out my loving thoughts, there we are, for, you know, in these war zones, bless them, and also around the world with others going through the most terrible ordeals in their lives. Do you see what I mean? All over the world. Do you see what I mean? Okay, so I just like to send out loving, as much as I can, loving and positive thoughts. Do you understand what I mean, my delicious little babies? That all of this putridness will come to an end. Okay, my delicious little babies, okay? So yeah, really lovely to listen to Ralph, bless him, okay? But that's, you know, that's a fantastic thing what he's done, you know, to admit that he had a breakdown himself. You know, like I said, it can happen to anybody. In life, nobody is untouchable. Do you know what I mean? Okay. I've known some, you know, that you say to yourself, oh, you know, nothing will ever get to them, you know, these super duper professional, you know, that word that flies around, over the decades, my delicious little babies. And there we are, and they've had a breakdown. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies? Okay, so, you know, it can affect others in different ways, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I'm saying? Yes, okay. So, yeah, well worth a little listen to Ralph, bless him. And he too has found himself, because I noticed way back, because he was always doing his videos like that, but I noticed that it was like, bless him, it was creeping in, you know, and he was, you know, talking about, you know, what's going on, there we are, in the world as well, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I'm saying? Yes. But is it this video, or is it the other one that he did how many hours ago? Is it 19 hours ago? Anyway, you need to look at it. He talks about a film that's only about just over 12 minutes long. His other video, his more recent video, this one's a day ago and the other one's 19 hours ago. But he mentions on that video about a film back in 2003 where they were, sorry, excuse me, telling us all what they're wanting to do to us, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I'm saying? Anyway, well worth a little listen. Just let me have a sip of my coffee, please, and thank you. Okay, my delicious little babies. Now then, so we've got finally, okay. Now you're probably going to wonder, well, what am I mentioning this sort? Well, guess what? This came up on my feed as well, my delicious little babies, and I thought, you know what I'm going to do? And then I flipping lost the video. So then I had to type it in one way to see if I could get that exact video up again. And then I thought, no, I do not recognise the, you know, the front of any of these. Then I had to word it a different way, and then I found it again, my delicious little babies, okay? So this uploader happens to have 79.1 thousand subscribers, my delicious little babies. And again, as I said, my little lovelies on YouTube. Capital B is the uploader. Beyond, space, capital T, the, and space, capital K, known. Okay, my delicious little babies. So it should read beyond the known. Okay, my delicious little babies. This video should read, oh, sorry, excuse me. This video should read 12 Disney rides that have killed people. Okay, my delicious little babies. So I'll just repeat that again for you. 12 Disney rides that have killed people. Sorry, could you excuse me a moment, my delicious little babies? Please and thank you. I'm sorry about that, my delicious little babies. I don't know what happened then. Past couple of videos I've done has made me, doesn't mean no, it's just made me, anyway, not to worry. Oh, sorry about that. Now then, yeah. So I repeat once again, sorry, sweet. 12 Disney rides that have killed people. Okay, my delicious little babies. Now I'm going to close my book and we must remember to go back to where we need to go back to, my delicious little babies. Okay, that's everything, isn't it, for today? Everything's ticked off. Just go and put my book over there. Yeah, so what's happened here then? Just very briefly, my delicious little babies. Well, you'll find that now, you know, some of the comments, because it's interesting to read comments on any videos I advertise, my delicious little babies. Okay, but some of the comments say, oh, you know, clickbait and all this, okay? The point is, what one should be more concerned about is these rides where, very sadly, ones have very sadly lost their lives. You know, they've gone to a theme park, you know, to have a marvellous time, and very sadly ended up not coming out alive, my delicious little babies. And what I was actually shocked at with this video, my delicious little babies, I thought, this is really bad. I mean, you know, it's so sad, but there's a few, bless them, well, you know, their heads were decapitated. When I was listening to the video, my delicious little babies, I sort of flipped me. I mean, that's flipping super duper serious, isn't it, my delicious little babies? Do you know what I mean? But it was also showing about, like, other theme parks around the world. Now, I remember, actually, that was one of them. And I remember back in, when was that now? Was it 2015? Yeah, it's called a theme park over here, my delicious little babies, and it's called Alton Towers. Now, I've been to Alton Towers, how many times? Loads. There we are, loads of times, my delicious little babies, okay? Because I used to really love the, you know, the roller coasters and everything. Do you know what I mean, my delicious little babies? But, I mean, I'm still young now. It's just that I wouldn't, you know, I don't know, I wouldn't risk it now. Do you understand what I mean, my delicious little babies, okay? But it is that adrenaline, do you know what I mean? You know, like I went on this, forgot what that flipping ride's called now. Where was that now? Was that Drayton Manor? Could have been Drayton Manor, my delicious little babies are in Old England. It's, what's it called? It takes you up and you stood up all the time, my delicious little babies, right? So what it does, it takes you right the way up, like super duper high in the sky. And then it just goes, then it waits. And then all of a sudden it goes, boom, straight down. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies, Kai? And of course, you know, I used to love all, you know, the roller coaster, you know, the faster, the better for myself. Do you know what I mean, my delicious little babies, Kai? But these days, not. Do you know what I mean, okay? But when I look back, do you know what I mean, my delicious little babies? You know, I was very much, there we are, a daredevil. Do you know what I mean? Like, and somebody say, oh, you're going to go, so I'll go then. Do you know what I mean? My delicious little babies, okay? But not these days, okay? I'm not saying I'm too old for it. It's just you got to be careful of the machinery and everything. Do you know what I mean? And especially with that in Alton Towers, my delicious little babies, because let me tell you, was it 2 young lasses lost the leg? Yeah, okay. But they were correct on that video, absolutely, because Alton Towers never quite recovered. Like, before then, it would be super duper packed out, but no. And strangely enough, Drayton Manor used to be super duper duper busy, but I've noticed with that over the years as well, that sort of dropped off a bit. Do you know what I mean? Okay, and then you had your famous one as well, Blackpool in our old England, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? And that roller coaster. There was a couple of passings to do with that roller coaster as well. But you know something, even though I've been to Blackpool, my delicious little babies, I've got to be honest with you. You know, ones said, oh, you know, do you want to go? I said, no, thank you. And to be honest with you, that's way before I ever knew of these accidents, my delicious little babies, you know what I mean? Because nobody had told me anything, do you know what I mean? But my spirit just said, don't go on it, do not go on it. Do you know what I mean? So, and when I watched the others, I just looked up and I thought, well, you're good. Do you know what I mean? Okay, because I don't know. I had this I get like this really strong feeling going all up my spine, and I thought, no, not myself. You know what I mean? I don't fancy flipping falling out of one of those flipping carts or something. Do you know what I mean? Or getting caught up in the machinery. Not myself. No. Do you see what I mean? So yeah. But yeah, I mean, this is awful. The first one they show you on the video is to do with this little family, bless, and they went to go and stay there, I think, for a few days, and then there was a wild alligator and dragged their little son. He's only little bairn, bless him, and dragged him. I think did they find him? Was it the next day? His lifeless body. So he was. So that's I mean, oh, what a terrible shame. Bless his beautiful, dear little soul, and, you know, bless his beautiful, dear little family too. But what's the point I'm making? His lifeless body. So the alligator didn't eat the little baby's body. Do you see what I'm saying to you? Yes? But like I said, I've seen videos where crocodiles can be very lovely to mankind, especially if mankind, like in a boat, has helped them. Those crocodiles will always remember if they see that mankind again. I've seen plenty, there we are, videos on these smart, delicious little babies, do you know what I mean? And that mankind can stroke the crocodile and everything, and it won't snap or bite the hand off or anything. So I don't know what happened there. I just don't know what happened there, my delicious little babies. But yeah, I mean, the amount of accidents, I mean, some like where some were injured, but I mean, did he say on that video 55? Has it been 55 passings, you know, with different, you know, these different rides, my delicious little babies. And that space one was another one in that Disney park or world, whatever it's called. And I noticed something else, that it all looks like blue. All of the, you know, the, what do they call them? You know, like the roofs of everywhere. It's all blue. My delicious little babies, do you know what I mean? Just looks, well, colourless to myself, my delicious little babies, you know what I mean? Because, of course, if you look at Disney World and everything years ago, it used to be all colourful and everything, didn't it? But if you look from a heart, it's all blue. Do you know what I mean, my delicious little babies? But yeah, that space one, and then I'm going to be over and out. Yeah, there's a couple of passings to do with that space one as well, because of the how powerful these machines was. It's apparently it was supposed to give you the feeling of going up into space. Well, I mean, bless the dear little souls. So everybody who's passed away at these theme parks, my delicious little babies. But if that's what going to space is like, my delicious little babies, do you understand what I mean? Well, I don't know. I'm not so sure I'd want to go on the ride. Would you? My delicious little babies. Do you know what I'm saying? Yes. So anyway, so that's my video. But they talk about different years on this video, my delicious little babies, okay? So it may pay you to maybe try to find out what has happened in these different years, my delicious little babies, yes. Anyway, so that's my video, my little beautifuls, okay? And yeah, so sending peace, love, harmony, and bright blessings to each and every one of you. And may your beautiful little selves and your beautiful little families all be fully protected, okay? Please take care of yourselves, my delicious little babies, and please try to take care of others. This is my little neighbours up the road, bless their beautiful little pussycat, little chin, okay? Because, you know, and my beautiful little babies, little Mays and little Rubes. But she's had her 3 little babies, didn't you, baby Sue? Look, she's had her 3 little babies, okay? And she's decided to come out for the day, okay? So, yes, and then she's just been, had a little operation so that she doesn't have any more little babies, okay? So, yeah, and she's come back in because she... Do you like the camera, little chin? Because she likes to pop in, see, come and say hello and has something to eat, and then off she goes again, my delicious little babies. Okay, little baby, okay, I'm just going to say goodbye on my video, yes? Okay, and then I get you something to eat, okay? So what I'm going to say to you all, my little beautifuls, okay, thank you so very much for any views, for any likes, and also for the occasional comments, my delicious little babies, okay? It's just that she doesn't want to get down, do you, little chin, okay? So until my next video to you all, so very much love. Are you going to say goodbye as well, little chin? Oh, she's walking around now, okay? So sorry about that, my delicious little baby. She doesn't mean any harm anyway, okay? So, so much love to you all, okay? And thank you once again for listening. And please have a beautiful time wherever you are. And please continue to good vibrations. Love ya. Thank you. Goodbye.